Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Fable Forge. Today I got a scary people video. It's true. I always love the true ones, but without further ado, please like and subscribe if you enjoy. r/askreddit. Who's the scariest person you've ever met? First day of high school, I was on the toilet. Massive kid, 6'5" and 270 pounds. Known to be the main drug dealer in the school. Comes in with blood on his face and dripping from his hands. I look over as I'm washing my hands and he turns to me and goes, "Don't worry, little man. It's not mine." Was infinitely more worried after that. I was on his defense team. He was charged with capital murder because he took $5 from grandma's purse for cigarettes. He had gone to 7-Eleven and bought the cigarettes still covered, truly wet with grandma's blood. He was insane, of course. Grandma had been known as the Mother Teresa of B County and had been found decapitated beneath a table piled with baked goods for the weekend's church's bake sale. She was the only member of his family who had mercy enough to allow him to sleep in her barn, because he was insane. This is a small town where everybody knows each other, and our guy had been known to be mentally ill for many years. The rest of his family had all been burnt by his illness too many times. As for guards, there was one in particular named Tiny. Obviously, Tiny was about 6'8" and went about 350. Tiny was the only guy with the stones to go into the cell and give our friend his meals. Tiny had turned his eyes away once, and the little guy was on him like a cat. But Tiny had no hard feelings. Everybody knew the guy in this little town and knew that he was insane. There were guards, but they crowded into the door to the cell. If anything happened, them coming in would have prevented me getting out. And they definitely did not want to come in. It is true, as one commander said, that they don't usually permit counsel to conduct interviews in cells. But this guy was so explosively dangerous that the sheriff had decided it was safer to go into his cell than to move him through the corridors to a visitation area. The sheriff did not want to have this guy move back to his cell in the event of an event. The sheriff was rightfully worried about the safety of his staff. I would note that at no time, despite the heinous act of decapitating his beloved grandmother, did any official involved in the case express anything but sadness and love. No one, not even the prosecutor who had formulated the capital murder charge, had any sort of venom for the guy. He was insane, and no one in the system had any doubt about that. They were pretty sweet about taking care of him, like a wild animal who couldn't control his impulses. The capital murder charge is still held in abeyance while our client awaits become competent to stand trial. That will never happen, so he'll live in state mental hospitals probably until he dies. One time, I was at an outdoor bar area with my friends getting a drink. I'm at the bar, it's pretty crowded. Dude comes up beside me and isn't really looking to get a drink. He's just kind of looking at me really intensely. Really big guy, probably 6'3", 220 plus of just muscle. I'm like 6 foot and maybe 160. And he nonchalantly starts talking about his favorite thing to do on a night out is to just punch an absolutely random person and see their lights go out, laying on the floor. He says he does it when he's coked out, which he insinuated he was. Just goes on and on about the thrill he gets from knocking someone out who he doesn't even know. The things he said were probably more graphic and violent than I remember. I was like, what the fuck? I need to get the fuck out of here. Not sure how the conversation turned, and he mentioned he was out on the town because he went through a breakup. He said, "Are you my bro?" I was like, "Yeah, man, sure, we're buds." Got my drink and said something like, "Cheers to all the fish in the sea," or some shit. Got back to my friends and kept that guy in the corner of my eye all night long. It would definitely have to be my uncle. I lived with my grandma. Every few months he'd stop by and crash on the couch. He was one of those cool uncles that always had weed and looked like a character from Sons of Anarchy. One time he stopped by, and I smoked a joint with him on the back porch. He just went off with this long and detailed confession about killing someone. For probably close to 20 minutes, he told me how back in the 80s, he and some friends purposely gave a woman that snitched on them uncut dope. It was disturbing. He talked about getting mad because she shit on the floor as she was dying. A few weeks later, I found out he was dying of colon cancer. I guess he just wanted to confess to someone. I don't know why he picked me of all people. I wish he hadn't. I work at a fast food restaurant, and we tend to get a lot of interesting customers. One day, a man came in, and I, being the cashier, went to serve him. He stood at the counter for about 10 seconds without looking at me, and then proceeded to run out of the restaurant. Cut to about 2 hours later. I'm cleaning the men's bathroom when he walks in. I apologize and say that I'll be just a moment to finish up my cleaning. When I went to exit the bathroom with my cleaning supplies, he blocked the doorway and wouldn't let me pass for about 10 seconds again. He then spends half an hour in the bathroom before exiting the store without purchasing anything. An hour later, you guessed it, he's back again, pacing back and forth at the front of the store. He ends up ordering $30 worth of food and, rather than waiting for his order, leaves the store whilst the food is being prepared to never return. Several weeks later, I'm waiting for my bus. I live very close to work. When he sees me, walks up and stands next to me for the 10-minute wait. When the bus finally arrived, he turned around and walked away. As a young woman, this scared the shit out of me, particularly when I drove past him getting arrested a couple of weeks ago, surrounded by police officers. When I worked at DQ, we had a guy that would do this. We called him Scary Harry. He'd come in, stand by the entrance to the back, and just stare at us while we worked. The girls would freak the fuck out, but all you had to do was wave at him and he'd run away. He'd go into the bathroom for like half an hour and pretty much just try to take a bird bath. Just got water everywhere and would leave. Finally, the manager's husband yelled at him, and he never came back. I'd see him wandering the streets, pulling cigarette butts and weeds off the sidewalk, putting them in his pocket, then throwing them away once he got near a trash can. Mike Tyson. And not the Mike today that'll take a selfie for you for Instagram just because you asked, but the coked up one who just got his face tattooed and would eat your kids if he ever heard the word selfie come out your mouth. It was '02 or '03 at a BET Awards after party in LA. I'm at the bar waiting for drinks, and he comes up right beside me, by himself, no bodyguards, no friends, no one. He's talking shit about everyone. The bartender, waitress, go-go dancer, the guy to his left, and before he could say anything about me, I looked over and gave him a, "What's up, Mike?" Keep in mind, I'm starstruck AF. But I delivered that "What's up, Mike?" so calmly you would have thought I knew the man for years. After I said that, he looked at me and his face lit up and gave me a hug. Now I'm 6'2", Mike's maybe 5'9", and I've never felt so small. The hug felt like I just walked into a jail cell and there was Bubba waiting for some fresh meat. I've yet to come up with a more uncomfortable hug in my life. After he lets go, we have a conversation, mostly about me being in the Air Force, that lasts for maybe 5 minutes. This again was one of the most confusing conversations I've ever had. There were points in the conversation where I thought he was about to whoop my ass. He would talk about George Bush and why I want to serve a guy like that while looking me dead in the eye, like there's a ref between us asking to touch gloves. Then he would start smiling and finish it up with a, "Man, this is a great party." Definitely one of the scariest and most WTF moments of my life. I've met some fucked up people and been in some sketchy situations, but meeting Mike tops them all just for the simple fact I've never had someone put me on emotional roller coaster like that from a 5-minute conversation. There was a guy in my high school who was scary. He was held back a year in high school. Well, more like he was in jail for a year for beating someone up badly. Anyway, I had a couple classes with him, and he was one of those guys who felt zero remorse and did not care or think about the consequences. He dated my friend's sister's friend, and they had a falling out. He killed her. First bashed her head in with a rock, and when that didn't kill her, stabbed her until she finally stopped breathing. This was over 20 years ago, and I can still remember the blank look in his eyes when he talked to you. He's getting out of jail soon. Edit. So it's been over 20 years since I gave this much thought, but here is one article about the case, and here is another. I was wrong on some of the facts. He strangled her first, and then stabbed, and eventually smashed her head with a concrete block. He was given 41 years, and for some reason I had 25 years on my head, but that might have been when he was supposed to be eligible for parole. To clarify a point, I have a friend. He has a little sister. This was her friend. I didn't know the victim very well. The murderer apparently raped the victim prior to this, and she was going to report this to the police. And this was his reasoning for the murder. I had completely forgotten about the rape. I had several classes with him. My last class, he and I talked a bit. I was always uncomfortable around him as he had a reputation for extreme violence. And that'll be it, guys, today. I hope y'all had a good day, and I hope y'all have a better week. If y'all like this content, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel. But yeah, guys, y'all have a good one.